You are listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything with the urban sports scene on Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia. Wole, Ray, and Mo are your hosts. As you can see, there is no Ray because Ray is out, but Ray will be back next week, hopefully. We are joined by Jesse Martin, host of the Bleeding Burgundy Podcast. What's good, Jesse? And first, tell our listeners about Bleeding Burgundy Podcast.
Well, Wole, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. And yeah, you can check out me and Keith. And we actually got a new co-host, and John Taman. He was formerly of the Bang Radio Hour. So we're doing some new stuff, some kind of bits in comedy. So you guys can definitely check us out. We're on all platforms. We're on YouTube. And we're kind of trying to be a little bit different because there's a lot of podcasts that are coming out now, man. There's tons of them, especially with the Washington football team.
Definitely.
But yeah, we just sit back. We're on every Tuesday and just talk some football team and have a good time doing it.
I was on the show not too long ago. It was great. I love the energy of the show. You guys are awesome. You know what I mean? They're a little bit they're more X-rated than us. We're on Fox. We can't really be X-rated.
Yeah.
But I love it though. I can open up. You know what I mean? I can kind of
absolutely.
So that's what I love about it. Because it is, like you said, it's different from other podcasts. Like you can open up and you can kind of speak the real. That's what I like to call it. Speak the real and be yourself, talking what you want to talk about and talking and being intelligent in what you talk about too. So that's one thing that's great about your podcast.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I'm already subscribed to it. I'm subscribed to it. So it's on the phone.
Awesome.
So it's on here. So I want folks to make sure they subscribe to on iTunes, all podcast platforms. It's there. So check it out. Again, it's dope material, dope content. I'm not just saying it because I was on the show. I'm being real. Like I enjoyed it.
Awesome. Yeah, we enjoyed having you. We're gonna have to get you on again sometime soon, man. We had fun with you.
Anytime, man. Anytime. Hey, make sure you subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and Gold, everything with the urban sports scene. Also tweet us at Urban Sports Scene and hit us up on our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. All right, it's time for the pregame. Here's what we have on tap. We'll talk about the Washington football team signing tackle Charles Leno, and we'll break down the Washington football team schedule. The official schedule came out tonight, so we'll get to talk about it. But first, the Washington football team signed tackle Charles Leno to a 1-year, $5 million contract. Hey, Jesse, thoughts on the deal?
Yeah, man. I mean, look, it's cheap. Let's face it. He's not a star. He's not a Trent Williams or anybody like that, but he is tough. He's durable and he's reliable. He's going to come in. He's going to battle with Lucas. I don't think it's going to be much of a battle at all. I think he's going to be our starting left tackle. And, we're building the offensive line and with all the focus from the draft and also our off season, Ron's breeding competition, and you have to like that.
Mo?
Concur, Wole. I concur, man. You're talking about a 7-year starter. A 7-year player. He's under 30. He's the last 5 years straight, 16 seasons. So availability being the best ability. We know that leads to consistency. We've talked about it all off season. Something had to happen at tackle. We thought about whether it's an opportunity for it to happen in the draft. We saw Cosme. We saw the addition of Eric Flowers possibly changing what they were going to do there and giving Sadiq Charles an opportunity. But you got a veteran that comes in who may be new to this team, but he's seen football before. He's seen a lot of football. Like I said, he hasn't missed a start or a game in 5 years. And the year before that, he played 16. He just didn't start all of them. So since he was a 7th-round draft pick out of Boise State, you can't beat that. Being a 7th-round draft pick to turn Pro Bowler, turn perennial, or every year, not perennial, but every year you're on the field.
You're a mainstay.
You're doing what you need to do, right? So I think this is a great addition to the team. I think that they're building the right way. We talked about that. We talked about when we were talking with Ray, sustained excellence, right?
Sustained success.
Right? Sustained excellence. So you have a left side of the line they can't do what the right side can do, but they can hold up their own end of the deal, right? With Eric Flowers coming back, and now you chime Leno, and then you let the young guys battle it out to see who's going to be that swing tackle, because we know Moses' contract is coming up on the the next year and all that, and hopefully they can get valuable experience and, see what happens from there. Because we do know people, we know one thing: offensive linemen get hurt. So it's going to be interesting to see the depth and how that comes to fruition for this team.
And Jesse, you had something you want to add? I can tell.
Going off of what he was saying about Moses, I have a feeling that we could see us. I could see us moving on from Moses in a year or two. We have Shaquille Charles. We just drafted Sam Cosmi. We just picked up Eric Flowers, and now we signed Leno. Yes, it's just for a 1-year deal, but it could turn into an extension depending upon how he plays. We haven't had depth at the offensive line in such a long time, man. And now we have it. I mean, I remember when our quarterbacks were meeting a new offensive lineman in the huddle for the first daggone time. We just got him off the streets. It's not like that anymore. And you got to be, I'm excited about that. It starts in the trenches, and Bron's building up the trenches the right way, both on the offensive line and the defensive line.
No, and I agree. I just think that's one thing that he's doing, and I think everybody's touched on it. It's building depth, and that this team hasn't had multiple tackles. You remember you having Trent Williams, and you had Ty Nsekhe, a guy who can play swing tackle, and still they've been searching for that kind of player for a while, right? And they finally got. There's multiple guys that could fill that. That looks like they can fill that role. I don't want to put any guarantees on it because they're young guys.
I think Lucas is now. We brought in Lucas to play swing tackle last year. I think they still want him to do that. Yeah. He's not really happy right now. I know. I don't know if y'all called that yesterday. No, I called it.
He's not happy at all.
But hey, he had a solid year last year. It wasn't great. But it doesn't matter, how good of a year you are. If you have a chance to get better, your coach is going to do it. Ron's going to do it. And there was a player that was available. He wasn't, cut for play. He was cut because they drafted, a high draft pick, a high offensive line to take his place. That happens. What is he, 29 years old? He's still got stuff in the tank.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think Lucas, to his point, though, I will say that Lucas is an individual I thought that played well at left tackle, better than what people expected. You had Penn not too long ago, and Penn wasn't horrible, but Lucas actually outplayed Penn. And and so people weren't expecting it. I always think about, the Washington fan base. We talk about the left tackle, and we always we need another left tackle. The issue is that we've been spoiled.
We have.
As football fans, we've been spoiled, and that's the truth. When you have Trent, you're going to always grade off with everybody off Trent. And there's not a lot of Trent Williams in
even
football.
Before Trent, we had Chris Samuels. So, I mean, we have been spoiled.
Chris Samuels. Yeah, you're right. No, so
Chris Samuels.
It's Chris Samuels. So so we've been and if you want to really go further, and it's going to show my age, but you really want to go further back, you had individuals like Jim Lachey, and this team has always been decent at left tackle for years.
We've had a stalwart at left tackle.
Historically, have been decent at left tackle.
Some odd years.
Yeah, exactly.
Longer than that, actually.
Longer than that, yeah. So so when you have guys who don't play at all pro levels and whatnot, you kind of get to a point where, this left tackle isn't good enough. We look at most of the league. Certain teams would be okay with Lucas as left tackle. They would be fine. They're like, Lucas has played well. We have a left tackle. When it comes to this franchise and this fan base, and I get it, because when you see dominance at a position, you're going to be like, we need this. We definitely need this. Because it's like if you have Tom Brady, right? And then you get somebody else, you're going to be like, we may need a new quarterback. They're not Tom. You know what I mean? Because your bar is already high. So, but I do like what Ron is doing. He's bringing depth. And to your point, there's so many left tackles now, or tackles. I'm gonna call them left tackles. So many tackles, swing tackles, that this team has now that they can. If somebody goes down, they should be comfortable. They can be very comfortable.
We got versatility on the offensive line too. A lot of these tackles, they can play guard as well in a pinch. So,
guard. That's a whole different.
If it got bad enough. If it got bad enough, you can bump Eric back out. I mean,
God help us if that
happens. I'm a Giants fan, so I don't know how that's gonna work out for you guys.
Hey Mo, that's not there. Mo, you want to go to the next question, Mo?
Hey man, so we want to jump into the schedule, or because I think we touched on Cosme. I think we touched on.
Yeah, let's go right to okay. We can go. Let's go right to the schedule.
Let's jump right into
the schedule. List the games, and the order of the games.
Here we go. We got week 1, the LA Chargers. Week 2 at my New York Giants. Week 3 in Buffalo. I'm talking about. I'm sorry, versus my New York Giants.
It's okay.
Week 3 at Buffalo. Week 4 at Rays, Atlanta Falcons.
That's true.
Week 5, home versus New Orleans. Week 6, Patrick Mahomes comes to town. Week 7, got to go see that bad man, Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
If he's gonna be there.
Week 8, Week 8, got to take a almost cross country trip out to Denver. It might be snowing there, and Von Miller's coming back. Week 9, got to bye, get home and relax up them bones. Week 10, Super Bowl champs at home, Tampa Bay. Week 11. Take a trip down to Carolina, see what Sam Darnold has to do with something. Week 12, Monday Night Football versus Seattle at FedEx. Going to be interesting. See what Russ can do. Closest to his hometown state, right? Week 13, unlucky number 13 at Las Vegas Raiders.
I'll be there.
Week 14. This is where the schedule gets good. Guys, listen to this. Week 14 versus Dallas. Week 15 versus Philly. Week 16.
Yeah.
Versus Dallas again, but one of those should be a home game. So
yeah. One of us. So I got you. So the Cowboys. The first game
14, is a home game for us. Yeah.
The first game
14 at home. Week 16. Week 15 versus Philly. Week 16 down in Dallas, and then Philly again, and he ends up with the New York Football Giants in Week 18.
You're so happy to say that. You are so happy to say that. And I mean, the schedule is interesting. I will say this: the schedule is how they had to do. I mean, division games all in a row. To have the Cowboys like basically back to back, it's not bad.
And Philly too. It's Dallas, Philly. Yeah,
it's like that's a little much for me.
Tell you one thing.
Go, Mo.
If you want to win the division,
it's that week. It's that those weeks.
It's that month.
I think the NFL set this up like this on purpose. They're not exactly sure how this division is going to be. Obviously, last year we were all bad. And they're going to make us duke it out. We're all going to be. I think the team with the least amount of injuries are probably going to come out top. And I'm not even really including Philly in this conversation because I don't think they're there yet. I think Dallas, New York, and Washington is a lot closer together. And to be honest, I think it's going to come down to health, man, especially at the end of the season. I think, week 3 through 10 is there's some quarterbacks in there there's some quarterbacks in there.
Yeah.
So that's one of the two things that I noticed.
Yeah. And, but you know what? Just like last year, we had the so-called murderous row. That we thought that there's no way that we're going to come out with a win, which we wound up winning. I think 3 out of those 4 games. You never know what's going to happen in an NFL season. Injuries can happen. And some good teams that you think are going to be good have bad seasons. Just look at the drop off the Steelers did last year after they played us. I mean, it was like 2 different teams. It happens, man. But ending up with 5 divisional games to close out a season, I don't know if that's ever happened before. I can't remember that with any division, not let alone the NFC East. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure.
Interesting.
Mo, your thoughts on the schedule?
I mean, I looked at the quarterbacks. That's the first thing I noticed. I noticed the quarterbacks. You start out with a fresh off of last year.
31 touchdowns.
Justin Herbert,
beast.
With those weapons, off season. I mean, he does have a new coaching staff, so interested in seeing how that plays out. But it really starts week 3. It really starts week 3 with Josh Allen, Matt Ryan, which people are sleeping on. Now he has a new weapon down there in Kyle Pitts.
Oh God.
So Jamin Davis.
Hey, he shut him down. He shut him down last year.
Jamin Davis. We're going to find out quickly, Jamin Davis. We're going to find out quickly, Jamin Davis. And then you got New Orleans. You got KC and Green Bay. So New Orleans doesn't have that quarterback that we're used to anymore. So that's open season right there, I think. Yep. Especially with the way that the defense plays. New Orleans is going to have to prove it. Yeah. And then you got Denver. We don't know about them. And then you got to come back with Tom. And then it's like you got one every other week, right? It's like you have one every other week after Aaron Rodgers. You get Tom, then you get Sam Darnold, then you get Russ, then you get Derek Carr. People sleep on Derek Carr, but you get Derek Carr.
I like Derek
Then
Carr.
you get Dak. You get Dak in the rivalry game. And then you have to see Dak again in 2 weeks. So I'm interested in seeing how the game plan looks that week because you have to see them again. And you can't put too much on tape for all the other divisional teams to see at that end of the season, that part of the season. So I'm interested in seeing the chess that has to be played at the end of the year in order to navigate those division games. And that last one.
Of course, go ahead.
I'm not talking about that quarterback. I'm not going to talk about that quarterback. But if 2-6 is on that field, you know what he do. You know what he do when he do it. And how he do it.
But see, at least to that argument, at least by then he should be all the way right. I feel like by then he should be and by the last game he should be all the way right. Indeed. When I look at the schedule, I don't get into predicting, with tough or whatnot, because again, like Jesse said, things change, man. Like we've seen it. We don't even know how this team is gonna look going into the season. You know what I'm saying? We don't even know. So this team can be ultra good, and exceed what people think, or this team can be bad, to be real with you. It can go left. But there in terms of what we can go off of what we saw last season, I'm a firm believer the defense wins games. And there's some matchups that I think, even though the quarterbacks are, you look at the quarterbacks, these are quarterbacks that will be easy targets for this front seven. You know what I mean? Like when we look at Matt Ryan and we see how he plays under pressure in terms of a pass rush, that's a team, though they have weapons, but they've always had weapons. I don't really get into. They always have weapons. Anytime you got Julio, you always got weapons. You got Julio, you got
Ridley Pitts in the middle of the field.
Yeah, you always got weapons. They ain't going to change. Like one thing about Atlanta, we could talk about Atlanta and weapons, that don't change. Like they have weapons. That don't change.
If you can get to Matt Ryan, that's how you should.
That's how you're going to be. Like it doesn't
get to him.
Exactly. And they haven't been the same since Kyle left. Like when Kyle Shanahan was there, like the offense was way more potent. But again, it's a tough matchup. Like don't get it twisted. Quarterback play is still tough, like everybody said. New Orleans could be a tough game, depending on who the quarterback is, and their defense is still stout. Kansas City, self-explanatory, man. We only got to talk about it's self-explanatory. Green Bay, if Aaron Rodgers is there, is a serious problem. The Denver, to me, is improved with Teddy Bridgewater because they do have offensive weapons in terms of the outside positions. They got the kid Hamilton. They got the kid. KJ Hamlin, and they got my man Judy. So they got talent. You know what I'm saying? They got talent. It's just all about it. And they got a decent defense in terms of the young defensive line and the pass rush and Von Miller. So these are tough teams. So we can, for real talk, we can go through all these teams and say that there's tough elements of each team that this team is going against, to be honest with you. Because everybody believes
the team has tough elements too.
Exactly. Because everybody's a believer of what their team has done because of free agency, the draft. So everybody believes their team is improved. My thing is that you do want to start the season fast. I would have loved to have more divisional games in the beginning of the year.
Me too.
To be honest with you, I feel like you got to get a rhythm. I said this before, like I wanted the Eagles. I know that the Washington football team had the Eagles like the first game of the season for a nice little stretch. I wanted the Eagles again. You want to start the season. You want to start the season promising. Like you don't always want. You want to go into the season getting that first W. I do think the Chargers game, to be real, I think is very winnable. In terms
especially
of
coming across, they have to come across country.
Yeah, we look at the totality of the schedule, right? I'm looking at the totality of the schedule. If you're just being a fan and you're looking at winnable games, right? You're looking at the Chargers as a winnable game. You're looking at like the NFC. The Giants keep beating the Washington football team. Like I'll give that to Mo. They keep beating them.
You're not looking at the Giants.
You are. Game. No, you go. No, in terms of talent, you're gonna look at them as big. No, don't look, bro. Like, all right, let me be real with you. I'm gonna keep this a buck with you.
5 out of the last 6.
No, I know, but I'm gonna keep. No, let me explain this to you.
You ever heard do theory?
Yeah, that too. But let me be real. Let me. There's certain things about talent and what you match up with in talent wise. When you look, you're right. They got the edge. But when you're, say for you, Mo, if the Jacksonville Jaguars were consistently beating the Giants, right? The Jacksonville Jaguars, if they were, but you played against the Jacksonville Jaguars, you would look at the schedule and be like, that's winnable though. Like you wouldn't say, oh, they beat us like 5 in a row. We can't beat them. We got to look at it as an L. No, you're going to say it's beatable.
You have to say
that. Different.
You have to say that.
But that's because it's a competitor. You know what talent is. Like if I'm losing to Aaron Rodgers 5 times in a row and it's Aaron Rodgers, I'm gonna be like, yeah, they're gonna lose that game because it's Aaron Rodgers. Like you know what talent, you know. Like if I'm playing, like for instance, there was a point when I played the Cowboys, when Washington played the Cowboys, and they kept losing the Cowboys, and there years I was like, yeah, they're gonna lose. Like they're gonna lose because there's talent.
So this is an indictment on Daniel Jones.
Exactly. So you know. So that's exactly what it is. So I'm saying, don't say like it's not winnable because it's like don't do that. Don't say it's not winnable. I get you because you feel good that they're on the streak, but don't say it's not winnable.
I'll said all of that to say that Daniel Jones is your quarterback, and I think I can win the game.
Look, switch it up, dog. Like for real. Like if Washington was beating the Giants 100 times, like 5 times in a row, and you saw Fitzpatrick as a quarterback, you'd be like, that's winnable. So I don't want you to even play it off. I don't even want you to play it off, bro.
You could have saved this 45 seconds of your soliloquy and just say Daniel Jones is the quarterback.
Okay, just facts. You know what? Daniel Jones is your quarterback. That's why it's winnable. We're good.
I'm gonna go out there and say I'm gonna say I'm gonna guarantee that we're not gonna get swept by the Giants this year.
Hopefully,
I have that much of a streak. I think we're going to go 1-1, but we will beat them. We're going to break that streak.
I will say this though: the best time to get the Giants, to be real, if you want to get the Giants, the best time is getting early, because like I told Mo, 26 will be healthy by that point in time.
Oh yeah.
26 will be healthy.
Think we have a good shot at coming out 2-0. And we have a good shot of losing that week 18 game. And that's what I think. That's where I think we're going to get that Giants win is in week 2. Yeah. Well, I think within the first 5 games, we're going to need to go 3-2 if we want to try to keep up.
Yeah.
We got to see how, Dak's health is really, and how healthy is Saquon in the beginning of the season. That's going to matter a lot to the Giants. And it's all about just trying to keep up with the division until you get to, week 14. And that's when all hell's going to break loose. You know what I mean? You got to keep up with each other. We have to win these winnable games. If you gave me this schedule 2 years ago, I would have probably been like 2-16 or 2-15.
Yeah.
But I don't feel that way this year. I think we're gonna come out with at least 8 wins this year out of this schedule, and it's a tough schedule. I think we're rated 21 out of the 32 of the 32. Yeah, well, I think it was backwards, so I guess it's the 11th 13th toughest schedule in the NFL. I don't know how Tampa Bay got the easiest schedule of the NFL, even though they won the Super Bowl. But I think we're going to need to come out of the first 5 games 3-2 to be able to keep up with. I know New York's going to be good this year. I think another year in the system. I like Joe Judge, even though he's a rival, but I think they got the right coach and their defense is good. Not quite as good as ours. At least the defensive line, though, but they have a hell of a secondary. Yeah. They really do.
Well, they got a good defense. I will say they swarm. They do swarm. I'm gonna give Mo some love. They do swarm.
They just say something good about the New York Football Giants.
I try to be non-biased.
He is. Like, he's talking. I mean, Jesse, you good, but I don't have to. You good, Jesse.
I'm non-biased too. I tell you
whatever, bro. Whatever.
Jesse, I like to operate in black and white. I just give you the facts, and I make all my prognostications off of the facts.
All right, man. Look, man, I'm gonna give you that, man. I'm gonna give you that for that, bro. I'm gonna give you that one. I will say this with me though. I do believe like people don't get in panic mode. I get in panic mode easy. I feel like 2 games. I'm serious. I feel like 2 games are like they're must wins. The first 2 games of the season are must wins to me.
Yeah, me too.
I'm serious because I think because we talk about this schedule, like you don't want to go into a season going to that stretch. 1 or 2 home games. That's correct. And then you're going back to back with we got Buffalo and Atlanta. Like that's a lot. Like Atlanta's
winnable.
Huh?
Atlanta could be winnable.
It could be
played right.
Yeah, if you play right. Yeah.
Buffalo, Atlanta I don't see us winning Buffalo at all.
Nothing on the other side of the ball that can do.
Even
with Fitzmagic being, sometimes Fitz, we don't know if you're gonna get Fitzmagic or Fitztragic. Yeah. Atlanta, the defensive side of the ball is just really bad. It's just really bad.
If we can get to Matt Ryan, we can win that game.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. If you can make them have to come from behind, let the defense pin their ears back.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, this team, I feel like if this team can get to a point to that bye, if they can be like 4-4, you know what I mean? I think then we can, folks can talk about, possibly having a nice, a December for people to watch. You know what I'm saying? A December for people to watch.
Is your panic, your hypothetical panic around Fitzpatrick being the quarterback if you're 0-2, and then what else would be, what else would we go to? Is that part of it?
Yeah, I just think if you're 0-2, yes. I think if you're you start off 0-2, it's definitely a quarterback issue. I feel like this defense will be good. I think it's a quarterback issue. So I will say that this 0-2. And then
you're wondering like, who would
just knowing what they're going to do. Right? Like, what are you going to do? Like, I just want to know how they're going to respond to it. I feel like, going off of last season, you know what I'm saying, they played for each other. And not to say they won't do that this year. I think they definitely will. But it is to a point where, I know it's early, but it gets to a point where you got to look at 0-2, like 0-2 losing to the Chargers, a team that is still relatively young. You know what I'm saying? Good. I mean, talented. They got a talented team. Don't get me wrong. They got a talented team, but it's still relatively young to a point where I think they should be able to still do some damage to the Chargers going off of what this team did last season and what they did in the offseason. They should feel confident enough to say, okay, we match up. We can beat the Chargers. Like, they should feel that way. The Giants, the thing about the Giants is, but both teams are doing it. It's like you're going straight to a Thursday night game. I'm not a big, obviously Washington primetime games. I'm just still not. Even though they played better last season, I'm not into primetime games. But going in that game, trying to making sure you play at a high level, and then you go after that. So I feel like those two games are essential. And if they don't
short turnarounds,
games, yeah, you know what I mean. And then like I said, like, to me, if they're going to struggle, I know it won't. I have a great feeling they won't be on the defense. It'll be offense. It'll be offensively. So then it'll be to a point now. What are we dissecting? Are we dissect? It has to be quarterback play, or unless we don't have a running game, and then or truth be told, it could be play calling. Then I would have an issue with that. But it would be on the offensive side. I won't put it all on Fitzpatrick.
I think. I don't think. Listen, what we had last year. I mean, we had Antonio Gibson,
yeah,
and Terry McLaurin, and sprinkle some J.D. McKissick and Logan Thomas in there. That was our offense last year. True. And we had 15 freaking quarterbacks play last year. And one quarterback that had one leg. We have a quarterback that's been playing his best ball for the past 3 seasons, even though he's older. But what did we want last year? We wanted them to push the ball down the field. What did they not do last year? They didn't push the ball down the field last year. Mm-hmm. We actually have a quarterback that will do that. We added Curtis Samuel. We even added Adam Humphries. Okay. We actually have playmakers. We added Diami Brown in the draft. Mm-hmm. We have the tools to get the ball down the field now. And that was the one thing that we were lacking last offseason or last year. Antonio Gibson, he's just going to get better. I'm sorry. Yeah. He's got the talent. He barely played running back at Memphis. Mm-hmm. The second year, we have our pass catcher, J.D. McKissick. He's going to ball out. How many balls did he catch last year? More than he did in like 3 years combined. I believe he had his best season.
Like 90 catches or so.
Something crazy like that. He had a lot of. I think it was like 82.
He won't get that many catches with. He won't get that many catches with Fitzpatrick.
Not this year. But we're going to have to sacrifice some interceptions. But I think we're going to see the ball being pushed downfield a hell of a lot more, and we have guys that get open, because you're not going to be able to double Terry every single play, either double or bracket coverage every single play. You have Curtis Samuel you have to worry about that can line up in the backfield. You can line up. They can put Curtis Samuel in the backfield. They can put Antonio Gibson in the slot. The defense are going to be like, okay, what the hell's going on? Mm-hmm. They have a lot to play with. I think, if anything, it's going to come down to play calling.
I agree. So, okay, Jesse, I agree. That's the thing. So for me, Mo knows this. I like Fitzpatrick. I don't want to sound like I don't. I like Fitzpatrick. Like I am cool with the Fitzpatrick signing. But I guess I should have said that. That is my main concern of what you just mentioned, Jesse. It's the play calling, because we're talking about Gibson. Like, this is a guy that's gonna come back a second. He's gonna come back for a second year. Should improve as a running back. Looking at the schedule, this is an opportunity to showcase him, especially against the Chargers, the Giants, because you mentioned Giants have a good secondary. So now you have an opportunity to kind of maybe try to utilize him in the pass game. You know what
absolutely.
I mean? So, these things like you want to see that early, because I mean, you're going against some of these defenses down in Buffalo too, who Buffalo has a balling defense. You want to utilize the mismatches every which way you want. So it's essential to me that Scott Turner, not just the players, but Scott Turner hits the ground running.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree with that. And that's my biggest worry. I know a lot of people, especially since the Aaron Rodgers trade rumors came up, a lot of people starting to talk shit on Fitzpatrick, but excuse my language. Sorry.
It's okay. It's cool.
But when we got him, a lot of people were a little bit more hyped, but then when the Rodgers rumors started circulating, now everybody's talking crap on Fitzpatrick, and we're Washington fans. We can never agree on anything. That's just how Washington social media is.
Yes.
But I don't think it's going to be like, he's not going to be his peak, but he's not going to be his lowest. If we can get somewhat of what we saw last year, which some can say that he should have been playing the whole daggone season, and the Miami Dolphins would have been in the playoffs, hands down. There's no doubt about that. Unfortunately, I guess he had gotten COVID and couldn't play, or contacted with someone with COVID and couldn't play the last game of the season. But he's playing his best ball. He's been playing his best ball for the past 3 seasons. Why wouldn't he continue that this year?
No, I'm with you. I think he's a decent, definitely a decent sign for this team.
Definitely upgrade from what we had last season.
Upgrade from last season. And if he can play similar to what he did in Miami, I think they can start the season pretty good. Again, I'm not saying they're going to go crazy this season with record wise, but they could be just as good. I mean, I think it should be a little bit better than they were last year. There should be some improvement,
especially on the offensive side of the ball. I think we're going to be better on the offense.
If the defense comes out and does what the defense did last year, offense is upgraded. Offense is upgraded. So however you want to look at it. Eric Flowers is an upgrade. Charles Leno is an upgrade. And Curtis Samuel's an upgrade from Steve Sims.
Steve Sims, right?
So, and I even think you can even line up Samuel on the outside, and Adam Humphries is even an upgrade over Steven Sims, to be honest with you, because he can catch the ball.
I don't know if that guy
just because he can catch the ball.
I just don't think he's going to make the team.
Who? Humphries is making. I keep telling Humphries is making the team. I keep he's making the team, bro.
Let's go down the list, guys. 17, 10.
Yeah.
You just drafted Golden last year.
Yeah, Golden's not going to play over Humphries. I like Golden.
Right? He's the big body receiver.
Yeah, I like a Golden, but it's not going.
He's got to show me something for
I love Golden. He's the big body receiver. Curtis Samuel's best value is in the slot.
Yeah, I think he is.
Curtis Samuel can't line him outside and win.
I think so. I think it's best.
I 100% agree with you. But he's going to be lined up everywhere.
You got at least on the other side. If you don't want to go big body
Cam Sims. Okay, so Humphries is better than Cam Sims. No, we're not doing this, man. Cam Sims fights the football. Yeah, like a coach, he fights the football. No,
what I'm saying though, this, man. Styles make fights, Wole. Styles make fights, Wole.
I know, but I'm telling
you, you don't want to be the Smurfs across the board. You don't want to be the Smurfs across the board.
No, I know, but I know. I'm with you. They're gonna get a couple. De'Ami Brown is like 6'1", 6'2", right? De'Ami Brown 6'1", 6'2".
Two big body wide receivers, man.
You're gonna get like I do believe
6'4" wide receivers that are over 200.
No, I do believe, to your point, I do believe that because they drafted Gandy Golden, because they drafted him. That was part of Ron's team that drafted him. That Golden has a year.
He's going to have one more year.
Like
he's got to show something.
Yeah, I do believe it. But I do want to get fans to understand this about Gandy Golden. Like, they have to be fair. Like, one, he's coming from a small school in Liberty.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Right. So he's coming from a small school in Liberty. He had to deal with COVID, like the COVID situation. He get a real camp. You know what I'm saying? Not a real camp. So you got to think you're playing limited competition in Liberty. Now you don't really have camp like that. So you're pretty much playing playing against each other.
Yeah.
So you're not getting an opportunity to play against a real opponent. So now you gotta get thrown into this. You start the season hurt. Then when you come in, everybody's expecting you to make a play. Nah, it's not like he played Ohio State or played it.
Everybody watches highlights, and he had nothing but highlight catches at Liberty. But like you said, Liberty is not the
same comp. It's not. So I expect if he's serious about his craft, then he's working. He's working hard. He's working because he's already tasted it, so he knows what to expect in the NFL game, the speed or whatnot. He can calm down. If he's working on his craft, working with other receivers, working with other coaches, he should be better off of that experience alone. Now, will that make him a good player? That's a whole different question. That's the thing.
It's just another position that we have a lot of depth at.
Yeah, which is crazy.
That's what I'm saying. You can only keep maximum 6.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, Humphries is making the team though. You're gonna have to cut Harmon will get cut before Humphries. Real talk.
I agree.
Harmon will get cut before Humphries.
Yeah, they brought Humphries in for
a particular reason. They brought him in for a particular reason. Like he'll get
Tennessee
cut.
did too. See how that turned out.
But he all right. Well, Tennessee.
They only brought him in. He
was injured. He had a concussion problem.
I know. But what you put on the field is all I can talk about. I can't give you out and not somebody else. They brought him here because he played with Fitzmagic the last time Fitzmagic.
Oh yeah, which is right. That's true. Yeah, and he's a good slot. He's a good slot receiver though.
Yeah, he is.
I get it, but like I'm not paying Curtis Samuel $13 million to come here.
But see, to Jesse's point though, real talk. He's not. We all know that Curtis Samuels is not just going to be the slot. Like he's gonna be in the front. He's gonna be in the backfield. Mm-hmm. He's gonna be on. They're gonna make him a gadget player. Come on, man. I'm gonna say this again. If anybody ever watched Curtis Samuels in Ohio State, you watched him in Carolina last season. Where it's funny. Like I had an argument with somebody before we're gonna wrap up soon. But I had an argument with somebody. And it was like, oh man, you're so negative on Curtis Samuel. I'm not negative on Curtis Samuel. I just know who he is. Like just because I disagree with you doesn't mean that I'm negative. I said that they said, oh, you see the response was, oh, did you see him with this offensive system and how he balled? I said, wait a minute, he didn't ball with his offensive system. He balled with
Joe Burry.
Yeah, Joe Burry last year. That's where they used him right. Like they used him right.
I got something to say. We got to remember that when Curtis Samuel was on the Panthers with that coaching, with Ron's coaching staff. Yeah. Remember, Norv was the offensive coordinator. And his son was just the quarterback's coach. Yeah. So we yes, we're using the same system, but hopefully the younger Turner has evolved, and obviously they've watched the tape on Curtis Samuel. They have to. They have to. And if they're going to just use him like they did, in the beginning, and it was Curtis Samuel's first couple of years in the league too. So you got to take all that in account. I don't think they're going to use him like they did.
Jesse, like I tell the guys here, Jesse, what I pay you means a lot. $13 million, you better come to play.
Oh yeah, and no excuses.
I have all the excuses at $13 million, especially in the year before Terry McLaurin has to get his check. There's no excuses at $13 million, and Terry McLaurin still has to get paid.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
Yeah, 100%. And to Jesse's point though, again, he was younger, and hopefully this team is getting a better player, a better version. But also, I mean, you're going to have to utilize him, and that's
and that's on Scott Turner. That's on Scott Turner.
That's my thing. It's on Scott Turner, because the only reason, and now I'm going to sound a little negative. Now this is going to be me sounding a little.
That's who I don't trust.
Yeah, so I don't trust. It's like, because we talked about Gibson. This is the thing that gets me. Gibson was a wide receiver in college. That's what he was, a wide receiver in college. How many times you see Gibson line up at wide receiver to get a linebacker on him? How many times did you see? You barely saw it.
I can't recall.
Exactly.
Wole, I'm with you on that, Wole. I'm with you on that, but then you're giving up the gig. It's a passing play.
Well, that's fine. Well, fine. If I get him on, that's fine. If I get him on a linebacker, I'm good. I'll let you know.
Okay, so
if I get you on linebacker, I'll let you know. I'll let you know. If I get him on a linebacker, I will let you know. The Saints do it. Alvin Kamara all the time. Yeah. They're like, okay.
I think the only time I can recall him lined up is actually what he did. He had a big game, but then he fumbled. Remember that
against the Rams game.
That's the only play I can recall him lined up on it.
And that was a wide receiver screen. That was a wide receiver screen with him. I want him to go vertical on a linebacker. I want you to give a matchup vertical on a linebacker and then see how it works. That's all I was asking for that all year. I never got that.
No,
all year. So if I'm like, that's like when I'm watching the Saints, and the Saints, it's not like when the Saints do that, it's not like they're doing some trickeration. They're like what they do is they rotate, they motion Kamara out there, like they seated the linebackers on him. Boom. They're going to Kamara. Like that's all I want to see. You do the motion, you see that he's getting checked by a linebacker. That's the mismatch. That is that is 4.3, 4.4 speed versus a linebacker that shouldn't be checking a dude who play wide receiver. So back to my point with Samuel, that's what scares me. If you didn't do that with Gibson, that's what scares me. I'm not sure you're gonna use Samuel the way you need to use Samuel.
I'm following you. I'm with you, and I understand. And I'm gonna try to chalk it up. This is how I'm trying to look at it. Yeah. Like, hey, this was his first year at the helm, running plays. I'm going to give him that, but I want to see some stuff this year. I want him to see him using his playmakers this year because we have him now. Yeah, he's got to use him right.
Yeah, I agree.
I know exactly how you feel.
Like, you know what you guys sound like? You guys sound like some fans. You guys sound like some fans. Jesse, man, you guys sound like some fans, man. Come on.
How come we can't sound like fans though right now? It's a Watch Football Team podcast.
I've heard words like hope and
hope. I can't say hope. Is this what we're doing now? I can't say hope. I'm allowed to say hope now.
And a wishing and a dreaming, wishing upon a star.
I can't say hope. Like that's messed up, Mo. Like that's not. I can't be positive. Like I can't do that. Like this is a Watch the Football podcast.
Everything that I say, you say I'm hating. So this is.
Look, you don't. I can say you're hating. That's me
right now.
I'm allowed to say you're hating because I'm allowed to say it.
I smell a lot of home. I smell a lot of home cooking right now, guys.
I'm allowed to say it. Don't be getting on me. I'm allowed to. That's my role. I'm supposed to be I'm the only Watch the Football Team fan on the show. So of course I'm cool to say it.
They pick on you a lot.
They do. It's great, man.
See, I do not pick on the man. The only time I give him the facts. Last 5 game against the Giants, offer.
That's true. Look,
that's the only time I talk bad about the team, the football team.
Jesse, that's a little form of trolling because he mentioned the Giants. He didn't have to use any other team. You can say any other team. Like he could have said any other situation. He said, I said 5 times in a row.
I mean,
the Giants.
The other teams are none of my concern. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the Washington football team, and I'm talking about the New York football Giants.
My man. Hey, you want to roll out. Hey, Jesse. Hey, man, thanks for being on, Jesse. Before I let you go, man, let our listeners know how they can catch you on social media and plug anything you want to, my man.
Yeah, man. You can catch me on Twitter at Jesse's24, JESSY S24. You can catch the Bleeding Burgundy podcast on Tuesday nights with my co-host Keith, the Washington football Twitter troll, KD Skins 26. He's everywhere. He's wild, man. You can definitely check us out. We're on YouTube, Google Pods, Apple Pods, everywhere you can get a pod. We're on there. So check us out, man.
Oh man, Jesse, Keith is a trip.
Oh yeah, we get a little wild sometimes.
Yeah, I love that guy. He's a trip. Hey, again, make sure you follow Jesse on Twitter. That's at Jesse, Jesse with the S at the end 24. Okay, again at Jesse with the S at the end 24. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Search All Burgundy and Go Everything with the Urban Sports Scene. Also tweet us at Urban Sports Scene and hit us up on our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. We had a blast doing the show. Thank you all for listening. You've been listening to All Burgundy and Go Everything with the Urban Sports Scene on Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM, Hopewell, Virginia, for ages. Yiddy deuces. A mega. Lead us out, big homie.
Swag.